Good morning, fellow alphas, and welcome to my channel. If you don't know me and you're new here, I go by the name Cisco the Alpha, and this is where we talk all about mindset. I had a quick story I wanted to share with you guys. If you haven't seen, I've been on a little bit of a hiatus. I've been working really hard. I've got with a real estate investor who was showing me the ropes in real estate investing. I'm proud to say that I'm actually now on my third flip. Really proud of that. The first year we started, during the pandemic, first week the pandemic set in, I started working with him, and that first year we were able to gross over $200,000 and progressively grow since then. I've also been working with some nonprofits, and I'm working on my coaching business, and that's kind of why I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about how I came about that. So recently I was going through some mental health things. First time in my life I ever experienced anything like that. But one evening I should say, while binge watching one of my favorite shows, I started to see myself in this show, Forged in Fire. It's a really good show. So if you're not familiar with it, let me go ahead and tell you a little bit about it. It's a blacksmithing competition where they take blacksmiths from all over the country, sometimes all around the world, and they give them these scrap metals.
52 100 ball bearings. We got chainsaw, springs, powdered steel, you name it.
It can be an old rusty lawnmower, a car, or just some steel. And their job is to take that steel and to forge it into a functioning knife. They take this scrap, and if they have to grind off some of the rust and get it polished away and get it chopped up, get it into a canister, and they throw it into a fire. And they get this metal really hot, so much hot it's white hot even. So they take this steel and they bring it out, and they take it to their anvils and they start whacking it with the hammer, and they have these big old sledgehammers, and if they don't use the sledgehammer, they'll take it over to this pressure hammer, and it's like a hydraulic press, and it slams it and presses it, and then they take it back to the fire and they put it back in the fire again and get it hot all over again, and they repeat the process until eventually they've whacked at it enough and they've put enough heat to it, and they've actually changed the shape of the steel, and you start to see a knife form.
I'm gonna take that sprocket, forge out a billet, and I'm going to take some of these damn chain links, and I'm going to
heat it up and quenched.
Oh, look at that. Tin is in the oil.
And then they take it and they'll start grinding, and they'll put a blade on it, they'll polish on it, and then they turn it in to the judges. And the judges, it's the first part of the show. There's 2 rounds. The judges will look at it, the weakest link will get voted off, and then they're sent back to their forges to put some handles on it and get it ready for the next part of the competition.
Bladesmiths, it's time for the judges to take a closer look at your work.
So that they come back and they finally have their weapons, and then this is the fun part, when they start actually taking these weapons and putting them to the test. And you got this guy, what's his name, Doug Marcaida. He does the ballistics and dummies and the pig corpses, and he does a number, and he's a martial arts expert, and everyone just waits for him to say his famous catchphrase, "It will kill," and it's great.
Your bagnat will kill. Overall, your weapon will kill. Your blade, it will kill.
So why do I bring that up? I'm watching the show one evening, and I was just kind of going through some mental health things. I was really depressed and down. And again, like I said, I started to see myself in the show. I started to see myself as the steel, the scraps that were discarded and were taken by someone with a design to forge it into something else, something functional. And I saw myself coming from the inner cities and my background and having gone to prison, and all of the things that I had experienced in my life, and I felt that I was taking scraps that was taken and thrown into a fire. And in that fire, it wasn't a fire of punishment as you would see spiritually. This is a fire of forging, of developing. And I was plunged into a fire and then taken out and worked, and yeah, it looked like it was a hard task. It looked like there was a lot of effort put into the work that was put into molding and shaping this steel. I started to see myself being that person that was molded into something else and evolved and taken into from one stage of life to another. So as I'm watching the show, I'm noticing as well that there's judges and they're presented with what you can come up with, and you take the forgers, they take their steel and they make a knife and they present it, and the judges decide, hey, let's see what you were able to come up with. And they'll look at it, they'll see if it was, you know, sound, they check for its integrity, its soundness, and see if it would be able to withstand the next phase of the show. So then afterwards, I started to notice that maybe, you know, I'm like that shiny knife that was forged in fire, and wow, was taken from one phase of life and taken through a process, and I know you guys can relate to this, just being taken through a process. Maybe it wasn't inner city projects and prisons for you. Maybe it was the loss of a family member, or the loss of employment and financial, or maybe it was even some mental health things that you know, we're now becoming more aware of. You've been taken through the fire and you've been forged into something else. But here was the most important thing that I noticed about the show, that the show, and I've alluded to this, that it's actually in two parts. It's a two-part show. The first part is to see what you can come up with. But the second part is to see what you're made of. The second part is after you've done the work and you've put the process together and you forged your weapon and you've taken that steel from one phase into another, now it's time to see what that is made of. Now it's time to put it to the test, and you see the sharpness tests, and you see the strength tests, and the tests of integrity and the functionality of it. You know, and I feel like I'm coming into that portion of my life, and that's kind of why I decided to start my channel back up. So if you look back at some of my channel, other previous videos, you'll see all of my stuff is pretty much dealing with the mindset. And a lot of times I'm speaking directly to men, but it is for everyone. But I am speaking directly to men. I feel like men, we need to understand that we have innate dysfunctional thinking patterns that I believe are debilitating and actually are holding us back from moving forward in what we would like to do in life. So I'm getting back to my channel, and I like to talk a lot about it. I like to talk a lot about mental health. I like to talk about, and not necessarily diagnosing, because I'm no professional. I'm just open dialogue, you know, free reign, speak freely. We'll talk about it. If you need help finding a therapist or a doctor, we can try to help you out. But this is just a place where we can be free to speak about these things, confide in each other, and also to think about or identify some of our maladaptive thinking patterns, and how what we can do to overcome those things, and just be our alpha, be the alpha version of ourselves. When I say alpha, I don't mean the toughest and the baddest SOB. I mean the best version, the pinnacle of yourself. It's still a work in progress. I'm so happy to announce that I am working on my third flip, and I will be sharing a lot of this journey with you guys. I do have a lot of content coming, so please like, subscribe, hit me with the flex emoji in the comment section if you're rocking with your boy. We're very beginner stages of this, but I have very big plans I am announcing my coaching business where I'm officially going to be a mindset coach. I am already a real estate investor who has just started his third flip, and I have a lot of content that I would like to share with you guys as I walk through that process, just to show you guys, not necessarily, I'm not the best house flipper in the world, but if you know a little bit about my story, which I will get to, or if you like to go back and see some of my previous videos, you can either link here or here. I'm not sure where that's going to be at yet. But go back and see how some of my content, see what my channel is all about. Please also, if you know anyone who may be interested in something like this, if you think they may be interested in what it looks like to flip a house, or if you think that maybe they would like to hear some things about mindset shift. If they enjoy mindset shift and they like to talk about some of the reading materials that I would recommend, or we can work together and I will share with you guys some of my tips. A lot of it is based on my personal experience and what it took for me to go from being raised in the inner city projects and serving a lengthy prison term to coming home, being married, starting a business, flipping a house, starting another business, and you guys get the picture. Being the alpha version of myself. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. I do believe that I'm coming into my second phase, but I do also believe that a lot of us aren't even aware that we're in the first phase yet, and that's kind of what my channel is geared towards, identifying what needs to happen for you, identify what stage of life you're in and what it would take for you to get to the next level. So thank you for tuning in. Cisco the Alpha. I do have a lot more content on the way, and I do apologize for the quality of this video, but this is just me taking action and going ahead and getting things started. So thank you for rocking with me. Cisco the Alpha. Love to see you guys soon. Check back in, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, and give me a flex emoji in the comment section if you're rocking with your boy Cisco the Alpha. Fellow Alphas, have a great day. Out.